better playmakers than New England. Jalen Waddle, Cedric Wilson, Tyreek Hill, Mike Gesicki, they got better players. I don't understand what New England's doing. I just don't get it. I don't get it. They're not paying Mac Jones. Who are you paying? I think they're third. They're a non-playoff team for me. And the Jets, I'll believe it when I see it. I think in the West and the AFC, people are spending a lot of time paying attention to Russell Wilson. You should. DJ Jones and Randy Gregory and added to Bradley Chubb is an unbelievable front if they're healthy. That is really, really stout. So I have them winning the division. Even without Tyreek Hill, I picked Denver. With Tyreek Hill, I picked Denver to win it. I think Kansas City will still be viable. I think the Chiefs and the Chargers, it'll come down to the end of the year when they play each other. Probably in week 16 or 17, they'll play each other. Whoever wins gets second. Whoever doesn't gets third. And I put the Raiders in fourth, but I think they're going to be a real viable team. I mean, again, this division is, you could have 4 playoff teams. So I don't think that's ever happened. It could happen here. In the AFC North, again, the only reason I put the Browns fourth, I don't think Deshaun plays in September. And I think if you go 1-3 in this division, 0-4, 1-3, if he doesn't play for 5 or 6 weeks, it's hard to overcome. Bengals, Ravens, Steelers. Listen, Joe Burrow has a better O-line and better protection. He got to a Super Bowl being sacked 70 times. Benefit of the doubt. I love him. I love his weapons. I like Zach Taylor. I'll give them the division. I got the Colts with Matt Ryan over the Titans. Again, I don't think either team's great. They both feel 10-7. I do think Robert Woods to Tennessee was a really good fit. He is the best run-blocking receiver in the league. It's a physical football team. All Mike Vrabel teams are physical. He's a really physical receiver. But I like Matt Ryan. I know he's old, but he was never young. To me, I have them winning the division. In the NFC, I'll throw it out. Listen, do we like anybody? Dallas is not the same team today. So even with their weapons last year, they disappointed you because of Mike McCarthy. Well, he didn't go anywhere. Carson Wentz, I think, adds wins. Remember, Washington lost a lot of one-possession games, and they were really bad at quarterback. They'll be way better at quarterback. And I think Dallas, Philly, and the Giants are non-playoff teams. I'll take the Rams, although I will say this. They're probably not going to have quite the pass rush. Don't be shocked if they make a move. They may draft it, trading deadline. Von Miller was really big for them. And Aaron Donald's a year older. So I like him a lot. I do think Trey Lance can play. I do. And I love the coach. And I like their offensive personnel. Have to upgrade in the draft, the O-line. But I think Trey Lance can play. They get second. Arizona's a viable third. Seahawks are in rebuild mode. Let's not argue about that. Before Devontae Adams left, I told the staff, Minnesota's going to win this division. I think the Vikings with an offensive coach are going to pop a little bit. Love their weapons. Both receivers, tight end, back. Added Zadarius Smith, the edge rusher. I think Minnesota, always a team that plays the Packers well. Kirk Cousins, winning record in Lambeau. Green Bay has no weapons. They got no weapons. It's hard to win a division. Minnesota's got several. Bears, Lions rounded out. And in what is as bad a division as the world's ever seen, Tampa will clinch by Thanksgiving over the Saints, the Panthers, and the Falcons. Falcons in full sort of, not tank, full rebuild mode. So now you do know half the teams that made the playoffs for the last 20 years, half the teams that make it don't the following year. So don't at me. Cowboy fans, you're crazy. That division, you got a different winner every year. So half the teams that make the playoffs every year do not the following year. So I have the Washington will make it. I'm going to have Indy make it. I'm going to have Denver make it. And I'm going to have Minnesota make it. You do realize last year's standings, it's not going to look like that. Every year, 8 coaches on average get fired. We thought it was going to be 3. It was 8 or 9. And every year, half the playoff teams are out, half stay. Who's going to stay? Brady in Tampa, Rams. I think it's fairly predictable. I'm going to give Cincinnati the benefit of the doubt. Buffalo feels like a pretty safe bet. I do think Kansas City makes it in a different position. But listen, quarterbacks won the best division. And if you look at my picks, I've mostly got the best quarterback winning every division. Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, slow down. They'll both get in. I think Wentz is the best quarterback in that division. Many say Dak. I think Wentz is more physically gifted. Matt Stafford. And there you go. We all have different ideas about success. We achieve it at different times. He tweeted yesterday that wouldn't be surprised if Tom Brady goes to the Miami Dolphins this season. He said he's hearing parties are working on it. He was the first person in the media in Boston to report Brady to Tampa was a done deal. So it's hard to wrap your brain around that. It feels absurd today, this season, but I think it's very possible, and I'll just throw this out to you. Stephen Ross owns the Dolphins. Many of you know this. Stephen Ross is the biggest, richest Michigan donor. Tom Brady went to Michigan. They've spoken. They know each other. They have a relationship up at some level. I was told, because I think we were the first show nationally to break the story, we were Brady to Tampa. I was told by that source Miami was where Giselle would prefer to go. It's an international city. It's a fashion city. Miami is very international. Giselle is an international star. Tampa's very domestic. Tampa's a small town, and Miami feels like a much bigger city, much more dynamic and much more vibrant and much more international. She wanted Miami, but in the end, they settled on Florida because the Dolphins didn't have their act together, and Tampa had, a conveyor belt of really good players. So Miami's roster today feels very Tampa Bay Buccaneer about 2 years ago. A lot of good receivers, solid B backs, a tight end or two people like. So the weakness of the Tampa team when he took it over, O-line, the weakness of this Miami team, and they've tried to help it, a little bit O-line. Both teams had good young defensive players. So it's very interesting. And also, Brady loves Kyle Shanahan and his system, which as you age is a very, very good system if a quarterback does have some limitations. Brady doesn't have many, but it's a very good system for quarterbacks. Who's the coach of Miami? He's Kyle Shanahan's guy. So they're building a very San Francisco offense out east. Brady loves that offense. So Chris Sims was on this show about a week ago, and he talked about, he thinks it's not only possible, it's very possible because of something he heard not long ago.
I think he only retired to make a play to try to go somewhere else. That would be my 2 cents. I know that he and Sean Payton tried to finagle a way to be the quarterback coach in Miami. I know that. I still think it's very odd that the week Kyle Shanahan didn't go to the NFL Combine, Tom Brady was in San Francisco at the same time. I just think that's odd. I don't know. It's a lot of coincidence there to where I just can't get behind it. I think he tried to look at some options. He couldn't find anything better. And he said, you know what? The Bucs are still really damn good. And the NFC, it's there to be had.
That is very true. Green Bay lost Davante Adams. They couldn't beat Tom with Davante Adams. They're not beating him now. So it's something to think about. It doesn't make a ton of sense now because he literally got on the phone and recruited Russell Gage. So that doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel like on Tom's brand. You recruit guys here. You want to play a year with them. So, but I could see it. That the Stephen Ross connection, the Michigan connection, the way they're building the offense. You start looking at these weapons for Miami. By the way, in a division where Belichick has a BB gun offense, the Jets are the Jets. You got Josh Allen, but you'll always be able to attract a lot of free agents and guys that take a little less to play in Miami. Miami, if you go look at the NBA, if you look at stars, free agents that have been able to choose where they want to go in the NBA, you'd think they'd go to New York and Philly and Boston, and they really don't. Kevin Durant was an exception. A lot of them have gone to Miami. Shaq went to Miami. Antoine Walker went to Miami. LeBron wanted to go to Miami. Chris Bosh wanted to go to Miami. Miami's always been attractive to athletes. It's aqua water, no state tax, very chill, warm weather, work out anywhere. You can go out of your balcony and run on the beach any day of the year. It's perfect. So I was told that Tom would have ideally loved to have gone to Miami and go beat Belichick. But they just didn't have their act together. They didn't have players. And Brian Flores, I mean, he just didn't know much about him. I mean, he knew Brian, but Brian's initial move into Miami was very defense-driven. Now the franchise Miami is totally pivoted to offense, which they should. So we'll see. And I do think, Chris Sims said this, I do think Brady looks at the NFC. His division's now the worst in football. It's not even arguable. It's too late now to make big moves. It's the draft. Free agency's over, so that division's getting worse. And I think he always thought he would beat Green Bay anyway. So, all right. Sage Rosenfels played in the NFL for 12 years. Dolphins, Texans, Giants, Vikings, Washington. So, okay, let me throw this at you, Sage. You just create another problem, right? More money, more problems, right? And so Miami goes out and gets Tyreek Hill, and I think they think, okay, solution. Tua is limited. Now we have a solution. And I'm going to push back on that because I do think he makes them faster and more interesting, but I don't think will he win him a game? He's probably worth in Vegas a point a game. Over the course of a season, that's 17 points. Is he worth a point a game?